Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Eastern Michigan University. I'm Greg Steiner. I'm the Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations here at the University, and we welcome you to today's press conference, another exciting day and another wonderful day in our university's long and distinguished history. Before we get going today, a few housekeeping measures, if you would. For those in attendance today, please do turn off your cell phone ringer if you are here for no unintended interruptions. Secondly, we're going to open the press conference. We're going to have a few dignitaries speak. At the end, Coach Castro will take questions from the audience, and media members in attendance will go off to the side for one-on-one interviews after that. It's a great day for us here at the university, and without further delay, I'm going to introduce our interim president, Dr. Donald Lopnow.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to University House. This is really an auspicious point in our history in intercollegiate athletics, and we're very pleased that you're all here. When it comes to the history of our university, the support for athletics has been an integral part of the student-athlete experience and our student body as a whole, and basketball and women's basketball are very much part of that. And we're very pleased today to be welcoming our new coach of the women's team, Fred Castro. Fred, and we're very pleased that you've joined us. I trust you'll enjoy being a part of our community. Not only is it a basketball and an athletics community, but our outstanding university that our students are very much a part of. The institution's 167-year history has been one of outstanding academics and a variety of academic programs, but also the co-curricular and collaborative activities that intercollegiate athletics brings to the rich fiber of our institution. And we welcome you as you carry on the traditions of our athletic programs. And in particular, what has been a very successful women's program that we know you'll take to new heights. And I should mention, for those of you who don't know, you may have read a little bit of Fred's bio sketch, but you'll note that he has a bachelor's degree in aviation. And I thought that was particularly fitting because those of you who know anything about aviation know that it's all about lift and flight. And I thought bringing not only your coaching expertise, but that background really helps Eagles fly even higher than we have already. So we very much welcome you to the community of EMU Eagles and your coaching experience that you bring to us. I'd also like to acknowledge that any part of a coach's success, whomever that coach may be, is their family supports. And we welcome Fred's wife Cindy and children and his parents who are here with us today, knowing that they're very much a part of the coaching team, whether they want to be or not. And so we very much appreciate your joining the EMU community also. Before I conclude this welcome, I just wanted to introduce several people. Back here, the third row back, is Emeritus Regent Roy Wilbanks, who is the previous chair of the Board of Regents. Roy's been a longtime supporter of athletics at EMU, and Roy, we appreciate your joining us today. Several members of the Executive Council, the leadership team of the university, Walter Kraft, who's right back here, the Vice President for Communications, Vicki Reung, Vice President and Secretary to the Board of Regents. There are a number of other folks here from the athletics department, and we welcome all of you. And I'd now like to turn it over to Regent Michael Hawks, who is the chair of the Board of Regents Committee on Athletics. And a little bit about Mike, in addition to his outstanding service as a member of the Board of Regents, he also was a distinguished athlete at Eastern Michigan University, a 4-year letter winner in football. And so the fact that he not only serves the university as an outstanding alum, but also the fact that he chairs the athletics committee of the Board of Regents is very fitting. So Mike, turn it over to you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Board of Regents, I would like to welcome the Castro family to our family here at Eastern Michigan University. As Don mentioned, I had the opportunity to play here at Eastern Michigan University, and I can tell you how impactful that was on my life and my career, having played football for 4 years, and especially playing in a Division I athletic program and being a part of the MAC conference. It's a pretty special thing to have the opportunity to participate in. Again, we appreciate you being here today. We look forward to continued success in women's basketball, and we want to be as helpful as we can to make that transition smooth, and look forward to coming to some games and seeing a lot of wins. With that being said, I'd like to introduce our esteemed athletic director, Ms. Heather Light. Heather's been at Eastern for 3 years, and she is really transforming athletics here. Under her tenure, EMU coaches and staff have won 14 MAC Coach of the Year awards and mentioned no less than 12 MAC team champions and 16 MAC Players of the Year. So I'd like to give Heather a round of applause for her service.
Good morning, everybody. I certainly, it's an honor to be here today and a really special day for our women's basketball program. I want to thank President Lapnow for allowing us to host this today in the U House. There's a big event going on at the Convocation Center, but frankly, we might do this more often. This is a nice venue and certainly a chance for us to welcome you to the President's home. And Regent Mike Hawks, thank you for being here as well. Nothing really happens at this university unless we have tremendous aligned leadership and support from above. And for us to really accomplish the things that we have set out to do and we continue to aspire to do, your leadership and your support means a tremendous amount to all of us, so thank you. I also want to thank Erin Keto. Where are you, Erin? Erin is our Senior Associate Athletic Director and oversees our women's basketball program, and very frankly took hundreds of phone calls and hundreds of emails in preparing and doing and leading this search. And you know, there was a tremendous amount of interest in this job, and she filtered through the hundreds of people that had an interest and really put together an awesome interview committee. Many of the members of the interview committee are here today as well, and I want to thank you for your time and your service and your effort to really bring forward the best candidate possible for us to lead our women's basketball program. So thank you, Erin, and all of our interview committee members. It means a whole lot. We cannot do this job alone. You know, there's a sign outside my office. I don't know if you've all read it, but it's something that a former athletic director told me one time, and it really sticks with me. And that quote is, "The decisions we make impact the lives of other people's children." And there's no greater responsibility than we have than that. And hiring a head coach is significant because they are the people that have the most direct impact on those student athletes and those children of other people. And so we take it with great responsibility and spend a significant amount of time researching our candidates and finding out as much as we possibly can. And you know, we scoured the country to find the best leader, and I'll tell you, I'm really honored and proud to introduce our new head women's basketball coach and tell you a little bit about him, Fred Castro. You know, Fred does know something about finishing number one. Dr. Lapnow mentioned that he was in the aviation major. Well, he finished number one in his class at the University of Oklahoma in aviation, which is quite outstanding. And finishing number one in anything is what we aspire to do, and not just in academics, but our athletic world too. So he opted not to choose a career as a pilot, thankfully, and really chose to follow his passion, which is impacting young people through the game of basketball. You know, Fred's somebody who grew up in the business, as we say, and he started as a women's basketball practice player. You know, he's playing pickup ball at the University of Oklahoma and wanted a better game. So they said, go and play with the women's basketball team, and started there. And the reality was he grew up and recognized what women's basketball is, what college athletics is, and knew that he had a chance to have an impact. So we started there, became a volunteer, got in the video side of things, became a director of operations, and then got into the coaching world, and has been coaching several years at many top programs, most recently coming to us from the University of Washington, where this past year they upset number 3, Stanford, to go on to the NCAA Final Four. And you know, he's been a part of championship programs and knows what it looks like. And seeing the game and the program and knowing the extensive experience that he has and seeing it from different lenses really gives him an unbelievable opportunity to be prepared and lead our program. You couple his experience with the mentorship he has had from several outstanding coaches at the University of Oklahoma and Washington, and realizing the impact that they've had on his career and knowing how prepared he is to lead this program is something we're really excited about. I'll tell you, one of the things that impressed me most during the interview was his preparation. You know, his preparation and how much he had studied this university in Eastern Michigan and what we were all about, how much he had studied our athletic program, how much he had studied this particular team, and the individual student athletes. And so I thought about his preparation for one day. You know, we spent maybe an hour or so together, and you know, the entire day, everybody kept coming back with, he is prepared to lead this program. And so I can only imagine how you're going to be prepared for game day. And you know, I can't wait to see Coach Castro in action as he leads our program and leads our team to building champions on the field, on the court, I should say, on the court, in the classroom, and in life. So I welcome you, I welcome your family, and we're honored to have you here today, and so glad that you're going to be our next head women's basketball coach. Welcome up.
Get my cheat sheets here. First of all, I want to thank President Lopnow, Heather, Aaron, the Board of Regents, and Aaron for giving me this great opportunity. I'm truly honored and humbled to be the next head coach at Eastern Michigan University. A day like today doesn't happen by luck. It takes a lot of people's investment and support throughout the years. And I want to make sure I acknowledge those individuals today, so please be patient with me as I acknowledge them. First and foremost, my beautiful wife, Cindy. We've been married for 10 years, we've been together for 17, and have literally gone from coast to coast. You know, one day I'd tell her, hey, I think we need to move to Macon, Georgia. The next day I'd say, I think Albany, New York is the place to be. And then off to Seattle, Washington. And never once did she flinch. She said, great, let's start packing boxes, and off we were. I can't tell you how much that support means to me. Also, the day-to-day things that you do so that our family can operate the way it does, so that I can do my job as a coach is enormous. Thank you, but more importantly, thank you for the day-to-day things you do so that Alonzo and Aaliyah can thrive and be successful. Thank you. To my parents, they made the trip up here from Los Angeles, took the red eye. Thank you for being here. They've spent quite a bit of money so that I could go to college, get a quality degree in aviation. About a month after I graduated, I got a job offer to be a pilot, and that same week I told them I was going to be a volunteer assistant coach that was going to make zero money and have zero benefits. And their initial reaction was great. Go chase your passion, we trust you, and that I can't tell you how important that is. So thank you for your support always. Mike Neighbors at the University of Oklahoma. Past 3 years have been incredible in Seattle. And the trust and the level of confidence that he showed in me truly allowed me to develop as a coach and as an individual. I'll forever be grateful to him for that opportunity. Obviously, this past year, we made an incredible run competing in the Final Four. And those will be experiences and memories that I'll get to cherish for the rest of my life. So, Coach Neighbors, one of the best in the business, very thankful for him. Matilda Mossman at the University of Tulsa hired me to be her recruiting coordinator. when she got the job. We went from a 5-win team to 2 years later winning Conference USA, competing in the NCAA tournament. As a 16 seed, we found ourselves tied with Stanford at halftime. So what an incredible run. It was nice that it could be in Oklahoma where we have roots and family. So Coach Mossman, thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for the way you've impacted my life. Aaliyah to this day asks about you constantly. I know you're watching. To Coach Abe at the University at Albany, absolutely built a powerhouse, and I mean powerhouse at Albany, winning 5 consecutive conference championships, making 5 consecutive NCAA appearances. Central Florida is really, really smart for hiring her. But she was the first person that really started talking to me about becoming a head coach and started the process of making me think like a head coach, viewing the team and everything about a program as a head coach. And not many head coaches do that with their assistants. And that really has allowed me to develop. So I'll forever be thankful. I remember those conversations we had before practices like they were yesterday. Thank you, Coach Abe and Michael and her family for everything they've done. Ren Baker and my great friend Lloyd Williams gave me my first coaching job at an upstart first-year NAIA program at Rogers State. They paid me little, worked me a lot, and I absolutely loved it. I really got to be immersed in every aspect of the program and getting my feet wet in a number of different scenarios, not just basketball, not just X's and O's. To this day, one of the best years and experiences of my life. So thank you for giving me that opportunity at Rogers State University. Hall of Famer Sherry Cole at the University of Oklahoma. I was there for 6 years. And I was there for 6 years because I refused to leave, essentially. I knew it was a great place. I knew there were great people there. And I knew I was being led by an amazing leader. And she really saw something in me that I didn't see. And she gave me an opportunity. For those of you that are familiar with the athletic world, you will understand that going to your athletic director and asking for a new staff position is not an easy thing. And she absolutely went to bat for me. And in doing so, really changed my life and that of my family. So thank you. I can't talk about the University of Oklahoma without mentioning Jan Ross. She's an assistant, longtime assistant there, but she allowed me to be a fly on the wall. She, at 3 and 4 in the morning, we'd be watching film, and what was great about that is that she taught me what it was to be loyal, the work ethic necessary to be successful, and how to do all the things behind the scenes that nobody ever sees to run a championship program. Thank you, Coach Ross, for your friendship. To all my former players, the last 3 days have been absolutely incredible. The phone calls, the text messages, the social media. I had phone conversations with some of my players that they were so excited, they couldn't even talk. So I said, look, call me back when you get yourself together and we'll talk. Some of them, numerous said, I feel like I just got hired as a head coach. And that's what it's all about. It's about these relationships that we build with our players. I love getting invitations to their weddings. I love getting pictures of their families and continuing to have those relationships that we have. So thank you to all my former players. My vision for this program is based on 3 simple things: family, academics, and basketball. And it's important that I say them in that order. Family is the first thing that we want to establish, a family environment amongst our players, amongst our staff, and amongst our program as a whole. I truly believe to maximize the potential of all our players, our staff members, and the program as a whole, there needs to be a family environment where people can feel comfortable, accountable, and where they can be challenged to be the best version of themselves. So that'll be the first thing that we start working on, and we already did in the meeting that we had this morning with our players. Academics. I come from an academic family. At a young age, they absolutely pounded in my head the importance of academics, the importance of a quality education. And because they did that, our players will get pounded upside the head with it as well, okay? Getting a degree is not enough, okay? In their 4 years, they need to come in as young ladies and leave as young women. They need to master a level of knowledge in their chosen field or major, and then they need to gain a great sense of confidence in who they are and what they've earned in the 4 years here at Eastern Michigan. The real world is not easy, and I want to make sure that not only do they survive, but they excel. And so academics is a huge part of that. And finally, basketball. The irony is, if you take care of family and academics, the basketball will take care of itself. If you have the family environment, that's critical to our success. Academics, if you don't go to class, you won't rebound. If we get in at 2 a.m. and you have study hall at 8 a.m. or tutoring and you're late and you don't show up, you probably won't dive on a loose ball. There's a direct correlation. So the first family and academics will take care of a lot of the basketball stuff. Our teams will be tough. Our teams will be disciplined. Our teams will be passionate on the floor, and we will be incredibly selfless on the offensive end. It'll be a brand of basketball that you will be proud to call Eastern Michigan women's basketball. Finally, I want to thank the players that are here, the players that I got to meet with, Phyllis, Ashley, Tori, Micah. Thank you for being here. At the end of the day, this is all about you and your teammates. So thank you for being here. I want to thank the Eastern Michigan athletic department as a whole. The amount of emails, phone calls, text messages has really been overwhelming. I've shared them all with my wife. I'm sorry I haven't been able to respond to all of you. I promise I will sooner than later. But I'm eager to get on the court and get to work with our players. And right now I'm dying to get to my office and start making phone calls and getting to work. So thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for being here. Cindy and I and our family can't wait to actually move in, get all our stuff here, and feel settled at Eastern Michigan. Thank you.
At this point, are there any questions that folks may have for Coach Castro before we take media members' questions off to the side?
You mentioned the offensive part. What about our defense?
Yep, great question. And it's a question that our players asked of me this morning. Fundamentally, we'll be a man-to-man defensive team. We have the talent, we have the roster to be an effective man-to-man team. It's my opinion and my belief that to win championships, to compete at the highest level at the core, you need to be able to guard man-to-man. We will play some 2-3 defense, but it'll be game specific, it'll be for the game plan itself, and sometimes just for a change of tempo. So the game situation will manage that. But at the core, you're going to see us first play game one in man-to-man defense.
Thank you.
Anything else? Well, at this point, we conclude our press conference. Thanks to everyone who came out today. Certainly, please come up and meet Coach Castro and the rest of our administrative staff. Thank you.
Thank you.